Welcome to Running on Ice, the coolest community in freight. I'm your host, Sydney Edwards, bringing you the latest tech updates, warehouse news, everything happening in the cold chain world. Now, if you know Running on Ice, the show, then you know Running on Ice, my newsletter. It's out every Wednesday and Friday, and I talk about similar things there that I do here on the show. So before we get into our guest for the day, let's get into some headlines. Burrell Aviation has plans to build multiple airport facilities for various parts of the aviation supply chain. Cushman and Wakefield are on the project and say these sites range from 4 to 120 acres and are already under early construction across the United States. These sites are located in 17 states, including Alaska, Colorado, Florida, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas. These projects are built with the ever-changing market in mind, so the locations are flexible. Sites could range from 25,000 to 250,000 square feet and could be used for air cargo activity, maintenance repair, cold storage, 3PL, aerospace and defense, and upcoming technologies. Cushman and Wakefield say these sites will be constructed on a build-to-suite basis and are currently open to new leases. And Maersk is working on new cold storage in Norway. The company announced it is building a new site dedicated to the seafood industry in Ålesund, Norway. Maersk says this will be the first low greenhouse gas emissions facility in the country and one of the largest cold storage sites there as well. The shipping giant is working to decarbonize all operations by 2040, and this site will help achieve that. It will abide by BREEAM Excellent standards with zero direct emissions from operations. The site will have nearly 130,000 square feet of cold space and will be able to hold over 33,000 pallets. Maersk says it hopes the site will be up and running by Q1 of 2024. And Engineered Foam Packaging is a company that designs a protective packaging for cold chain businesses, and Business Wire reports that it just bought NatureCool, a natural fiber insulated shipper. Now, EFP works with many different clients, including pharmaceutical, food distribution, and other temperature-sensitive industries. The company says this new partnership will offer the same service, but with environmental and health benefits to customers with the NatureCool technology. NatureCool does not use chemicals like pesticides, so their products are compostable and recyclable. NatureCool leaders say they're excited for what this partnership will bring. Now for the fun stuff. Today I'm joined by Todd Davis. He's the Vice President of Intermodal at KLLM Transport. Todd, how are you doing today?
How about you, Sydney?
I am good, and it's a happy Friday, and it's nearly Christmas time, so I want to hear a bit more about yourself, and eventually we're going to talk Christmas. But give me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sounds great. So I got into this industry when I was in college back in the mid-'90s. I worked in the LTL industry for many years in my career. And for the past nearly 5 years, I've been with KLLM Transport Services based in Central Mississippi. We're one of the leading temperature control providers in North America. And historically, the biggest component of our business has been over-the-road temperature control transportation. And back as far back as the 90s, we were doing temperature control intermodal with containerized equipment. Equipment specs changed over the years, and we moved to a trailer on flat car or trailer on the railroad type of movement, and did that for many years. There was a new engineering design that came out in 2017, and we had embraced that a year after and started converting our intermodal fleet from trailer to container. We were able to pick up the same amount of palletized capacity on our temperature control containerized equipment as we were our trailers. And we're able to open up some new lane pairings for many of our customers that helped improve their supply chain. So like I said, I've been doing this for 27 years now, and it seems like I learn something new every day. The supply chain continues to evolve. It challenges us daily, and we're constantly looking for new ways that we can better serve our customers and provide solutions.
Absolutely, Todd. And now getting a bit more into the cold chain of things and your work specifically in sales and operations, what are you seeing right now when it comes to the sales work?
Yeah, right now, like I said, our customers they're looking for solutions. The past couple of years have been extremely challenging to their supply chains. You really saw challenges to the historic norms of freight flows in certain areas because consumer demand was evolving. And so, right now, I think our customers, they're kind of resetting their baselines of, what does their supply chain need to look like in the future? Where can they embrace different modal conversions in order to help balance their budgets. That's one thing that was very challenging for our customers in recent years is just the inflationary pressures on the transportation budgets. Of course, we're all feeling that. Whether it's equipment, whether it's employees, recruiting, insurance, all of those things that they add up, and it's one of those things that we've really sought to find ways that we can continue to say yes to our customers, even in tight driver supply markets, where we can continue to invest in capacity that's not as driver intensive. That's one reason that we've invested so heavily in the past several years by adding several thousand containers to our fleet in order to help our customers balance those transportation budgets and in turn serve their ultimate customers as well.
You mentioned adding on trucks to the fleet. I know a couple of months ago you guys actually acquired Quest, and I'm curious how that has ramped up things, if that's expanded your fleet, and how that's been going.
Yeah, we have been so excited about that acquisition. We look at acquisitions almost on a weekly basis. And, what you saw last year is just a lot of things that were coming in that just weren't a good culture fit. And Quest has really been a success story. We've had several acquisitions in the past few years, and we've been, very pleased with all of them. What Quest really does is it helps that value proposition for our customers who need expedited service, particularly from the Southeast over to the West Coast and back. When you look at short shelf life products like produces and things like that, those need an expedited form of transportation. And Quest, with their long history in that mode, has just been a market leader in the Southeast and has been a welcome addition to our portfolio.
So truly, that acquisition has helped you expand your reach in other parts, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll continue to build upon what they have done over previous years. We'll continue to add drivers and equipment. We have rebranded that service as KLM Expedited. So our customers, understand that that's another core benefit that we can add to them. But absolutely, we'll continue to grow that.
While we're talking about acquisitions, I'm curious if there's anything we could be looking forward to for the future of KLLM and anything coming up that you might be purchasing.
Yeah, like I said, last year we probably looked at, one a week. Now it's multiple a week that are being sent to us. Unfortunately, what we have found is that there were a lot of companies last year that were probably propped up by the spot market and inflationary rates that just weren't a long-term solution. That it's just something that wasn't going to be sustainable, but it was a matter of supply and demand. And now that market rates have normalized, the spot market has started to subside because there's just not as much extra out there in the supply chain. What we found is a lot of those companies that were riding off those, historically high rates, they're starting to see that, they're burning through some cash. Their costs are, not going down. You can't go to a driver that you gave a pay increase during good times and ask them for a pay cut, during lean times, or you're going to lose that driver. And that's what a lot of them are faced with. And so one of the things that we're able to do when we look at, acquisitions, number one, we look at their core safety values because that's critically important to our organization. We're a member of the Trucking Alliance. We do hair follicle testing for pre-employment. And so, we're always looking for those, safety fits to make sure that there's no hidden liabilities or risk. But one thing that we can do is we can, come in, we can introduce some different purchasing synergies that help, get their equipment cost under control. And it, really, if we're able to, look at the safety record, look at the employment tenure, the historical aspects of the company and what the value adds that they have for their customer base, that's when we, decide, that they would be a good fit for our family. And, I do feel like we'll see some acquisitions in 2023, but we're not going to go out there and, do something that doesn't make sense for our core customer base.
That sounds like a smart way to go about things, of course.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned working through weak and strong, seasons. And of course, it's the holiday season right now. I'm curious how a company like KLLM has prepared for what they're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Every year it seems like it changes. This year, just like Christmas always falls at the end of the calendar year. And that's very important for the shipping community because a lot of times they're trying to make sure that that product is sold and shipped before the calendar year ends. It's, important for their ownership groups or, if they're publicly traded, what they're reporting to Wall Street. So, what you see is there's a lot of companies that will ramp up the last few weeks of the year, just depending on what, where they are trying to hit their revenue goals for the year. But we also, we have a lot of customers who they might, shut down between the week of Christmas and New Year's. So advanced communications from those customers are vitally important to us to help plan for operations because we're also trying to get drivers home to their families, make sure that, they can spend time with their loved ones during the holidays as needed. But make no mistake, once the holiday is over, it's fast and furious trying to, get everything reset and make sure that there's no upset to our operations and, that all of our appointments and schedules are upheld. So a lot of behind the scenes logistics work leading up to the holidays.
Can it be tough jumping back in after a holiday season? I know personally for me, it's always hard after spending time with family, after taking time off to get back into that mindset. And I'm sure in the logistics world with so many things involved, it can be tough to kind of just get things right back going.
Yeah, I think that for anybody, after you've had a break, it is hard. Sometimes it's refreshing to get back to work, depending on how the holidays were. But yeah, it's one of those things that, we're a service industry, so we're 24/7. So, we do have operations staff, we do have drivers that are working throughout the holidays, because at the end of the day, we're here to service our clients, and they do have needs that never sleep, unfortunately. So, we do have those that volunteer to rotate holidays. We have drivers that are willing to work. We offer some incentives there to help, facilitate that sacrifice that they make. And, at the end of the day, a service, industry is, it keeps on going.
I haven't asked anybody this question yet, but now that we are, that Christmas is practically here, what is the most frustrating or hectic day of this week?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Typically what we'll find, and it's a little bit weird with Christmas falling on the weekend this year, but probably what we'll find is Friday by about noon, a lot of, shipping and receiving locations will want to start to shut down early So you get kind of a compressed time frame. You're almost cutting your day in half. So that becomes a little bit of an operational challenge because we're also trying to, as well get employees off early as well, to prepare for the holiday weekend. So I would say Friday is going to be a little bit of a mad dash. Monday, most people will observe Christmas, but Tuesday will probably be pretty busy because we'll have a lot of deliveries that will need to be made. And then, like I said, you've got a lot of customers who are going to really be trying to push out product on the 30th this year on that Friday and get as much out as they possibly can so they can get invoiced and hopefully, have a great, year.
And of course, wrapping up Q4, I'm curious if there have been any surprises towards the end of this year, or did you expect the year to go how it went? Of course, we're finally kind of moving things back to normal numbers,
Right.
before the pandemic. But I'm just curious if the rest of this year, and it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically with KLM, but if things really have shaken out the way we thought they would.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The past couple of years have been a roller coaster, right? And we've all had to adjust to that. And really, we've been very pleased with the overall year. As I mentioned earlier, on the intermodal side, we've been adding equipment over the past couple of years. And so a lot of times outside of an RFP cycle, and typically what we do is we go to our top tier customers first and let them know, here's what's coming on outside of, your normal RFP cycle. Is there anything that you could utilize for your supply chain? And in the past couple of years, the quick answer is yes, because our customers have needed so many capacity solutions because of the tight driver hiring climate. I think that, one of the most challenging things that we continue to face is the equipment procurement side is still challenged. Just like, many other industries, we're still having some delays in component for equipment, whether that's with our reefer units, whether that's axles for trailers, or whether that's new trucks being delivered. There's still delays that we're seeing in that part of the supply chain that impact what we're able to turn around and offer readily to our customers. So, like I said, fortunately on the intermodal side, because we've had such a long ramp up, we have been making sure that equipment is available to our customers as needed outside that procurement cycle. We do foresee in 2023, we see the trailing side of our business, the over-the-road trailers, we see that to be a healthier side. There have definitely been delays this year, but also some diversification on the tractor side that we've done this year has helped make sure that as we're able to add drivers, that they've got a new truck that we can seat them in readily. So overall, it's been a good year. I think that the back half of the year, we've really seen a normalization to the year. That's, given us a little bit of a breather. That way we can make sure that we're setting up our networks for success. There's definitely been changes, in directional flows in the supply chain. If we look at the migration from, the West Coast over to the East Coast, we're starting to see a lot of demand out of Southern Georgia, the Port of New Jersey, things like that. We still have good demand, in California. We just don't see the peak season that typically drives the spot market rates, to historic highs in the third and fourth quarter every year. We haven't quite experienced that this year, but it is interesting to see the emerging, East Coast and what that's doing to some of the demand over there.
Talking about equipment procurement, of course, I talk with leaders in the industry every single week. And in the last, I would say, 6 months to a year, I have personally noticed everyone is getting more involved in temperature-controlled cold chain efforts. They're building their departments that are focused on this. They're hiring on, new positions for it. People are buying more cold storage. They're adding to their reefer fleets. I guess I would hope, I can't say that I expect it to necessarily, but I would hope that come 2023, those, procuring more equipment, finding those reefer fleets becomes a bit easier now, especially when they're building more cold storage. They're all these distribution sites. I don't know if you would say that you do expect it to get better and to be able to, there's some companies that are working on truck sharing because of the lack of reefers in the area. I don't know if that's something that would interest you, or you would say that you do expect things to get better when it comes to finding those resources in 2023.
Yeah, I do think that we will see some improvements. We've already been given some encouraging news by some of our suppliers that some of the equipment that was expected in 2022 will be available by mid 2023. We'll be caught up. We'll even be in a little bit of a healthier truck to trailer ratio on the OTR side. Because of some of the procurement that we went on and planned for this year going into next. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the supply chain, as we talked about earlier, continues to evolve. When we look at the demand that consumers have for, short shelf life product, whether it's because of the organic products that are in grocery chains now that, require a final mile, quick, got to have it, as soon as it's ordered, type scenario, or it's just, your temperature control business that's moving from a manufacturing plant to a DC or DC to a DC. There's all of those different growth challenges that occur in the industry as that supply and demand balance continues to evolve. And I think it's great that all the temperature control opportunities are, evolving in different marketplaces. Some of the underserved areas are starting to, get some new temperature control warehousing. And, really, if I look at our service and where it was several years ago, there were, a lot of markets that we weren't servicing because they weren't necessarily relevant to us at the time as a trailer on flat car provider. And now what we're able to do as a containerized intermodal provider, we're able to say yes to so many other temperature control needs that our customers have. As we continue to see, different areas of the country evolve as really just large supply chain distribution areas. If you look at Atlanta for the Southeast, or, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for the Northeast, Bethlehem, those areas, or, whether it's Dallas, Chicago, these major core hubs continue to grow and continue to, be taxing on capacity because those needs continue to evolve. And I think that that's one thing too that has been a surprise for many providers is, when we look at the capacity challenges the past couple of years, we've needed all of that new warehousing to come online because a lot of times what we have found is that our equipment is almost being used for short-term warehousing because of the lack of distribution center space in certain, metropolitan areas because that demand is so high. So I think that, now that some of that real estate's coming online, hopefully that helps free up some of that over the road and intermodal equipment for the industry and, helps just restore some fluidity as well.
Absolutely. We're crossing our fingers for 2023.
Absolutely.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for joining me today. Before I let you go, anything new coming up for KLLM?
Yeah, so, in 2022, we actually introduced some dry intermodal services into our portfolio. Once again, that was a way that we were able to say yes to our customers to more of their supply chain needs. Many of our customers have temperature control and dry products, especially in the food categories, and a lot of times shipping and receiving out of those same facilities. So we're able to provide them those two equipment types that are really, helping them, with some synergies at their level. Earlier we talked about KLM Expedite and what we're doing in that space with the team services. So we will continue to evolve as our customers' needs continue to evolve. So we're looking at an encouraging 2023, and it's where we have constant communications with our customers, and it's a matter of what their needs are as they continue to try to service their customer base as well. So you'll continue to see growth from us, hopefully.
I can't wait to see it. Todd Davis,
All
thank
right.
you so much, Vice President of Intermodal, KLLM Transport. It's been a great day having you on.
Thank you, Sydney. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. Now, for anybody who would like to watch this interview again, you can check it out. If you follow my newsletter, Running on Ice, you can get that at freightwaves.com. Subscribe to it, and you'll get this newsletter tonight that will have this show posted in there. I'll also have more details coming up on the headlines happening this week. It is nearly Christmas. I want to wish all of my viewers a very happy holiday season. We'll have more coming up in the new year. Stay tuned.